My name's Gary Schuyler. I'm President and CEO of YMCA, and welcome and thank you all for coming. We have a lot of special people here today, all of you. But before we begin, I do want to invite, welcome and introduce our elected officials who are here today. Senator Roderick, Senator Mike, where are you? He's in the back over there. Thank you for coming, Mike. And we have Representative Howard over here, and Representative Sylvia somewhere in the back over there. Thank you guys for coming and taking time out of your busy days to be with us. I want to thank the speakers for coming, as well as board members, staff, and all of the Y supporters that are here. So today is about celebration and inspiration, celebrating all of you who support our Y, but we're also here to inform and hopefully inspire you to help us do more, to help us build a better us. On your tables, you have placemats that were made by children in our child care programs. Placemats that tell the story of how the Y is helping to build a better next generation. So let us now imagine, since it's an election year, let us imagine a society where every child has an opportunity to run for president. Now, I know some of you may be thinking there are children running for president. Sorry, Wanda, I had to do that. Or to reach for whatever star that they might want. Imagine that society. So we're going to do something different that our Y has never done. We're going to start our program with a presidential campaign video.
This is Zoe. She's 1, and she's running for president, potentially in 2064. Because if she's kept safe and eats well, has the opportunity to learn and grow, if she has help getting ahead and support along the way, then Zoe could be president. Like her hero, Ababam Binken. Help kids like Zoe dream big. The Y, for early learning, childcare, mentorship, and more. For a better us. Donate to the Y at zoeforpresident.net.
Well, Zoe. So I'm going to be campaigning for her in 2064. I'll be 110 years old. But I'm pretty excited for her candidacy. So Zoe represents the potential the Y sees in every child, whether they want to be a teacher, banker, firefighter, lawyer, carpenter, or yes, even President of the United States. But we have many challenges to overcome to make that happen. And most of these challenges you know about, but they are as follows, some of them. More than 50% of 3- and 4-year-olds in our country do not attend preschool, despite expert research that shows kids' brains develop fastest during those early years. Each year, the YMCA movement across the country equips a quarter of a million kids with the necessary skills to enter kindergarten and put them on the right path for life. Every day in our society, 1 in 4 kids is left unsupervised after school. Our YMCA after-school programs provide safe spaces for children to feel accomplished and develop a sense of belonging. YMCA Southcoast, right here, serves over 400 children a day in licensed after-school child care programs across the region. We all know about the education achievement gap, and we also know, and I believe in my heart of hearts, that education is the only way to break the cycle of poverty. And kids who don't read over the summer, they lose an average of 2 months of literacy skills. How can you learn if you can't read? Our YMCA summer camp programs here in Southcoast serve 1,000 children each day at our 6 locations with a new and renewed emphasis on bridging that summer reading gap. In our new Bay Coast Bank Education Achievement Center, where's Anne Marie? She's running. Anne Marie, stand up.
Oh boy.
This is, oh boy. She's running our Education Achievement Center, and it's really new and innovative, and it uses volunteers to really make a difference in the lives of over 100 children every day, helping them to improve their chance of academic success. 1 in 5 American children don't know where his or her next meal is coming from here in the United States. Our Y, your Y, is taking this issue on through our Share the Harvest farm in Dartmouth, which provided 92,000 pounds of fresh vegetables to needy families in 2015. Using volunteers, and our brand new Nutrition on Weekends program called NOW, NOW, is making a difference to 150 children at an area school in New Bedford. You're going to hear about that shortly. 1 in 4 girls and 1 out of every 6 boys will be affected by child sexual abuse. YMCA Southcoast is taking the lead with the Children's Advocacy Center and other agencies to develop a program that will train over the next 5 to 7 years 14,000 adults, or 5% of the adult population in Southcoast, on this very important issue. Experts believe that if we can get to 5%, that's the tipping point in changing that horrible statistic. And while my focus has been on Zoe and her generation, in this discussion we cannot overlook the effects preventable and unpreventable disease and other health issues can have on our families across the South Coast. The Y has a proud legacy of promoting good health through a host of established and effective programs for all ages, some well-known, like our Live Strong program, and others not as well-known but getting there and promising great effectiveness, like our DPP, Diabetes Prevention Program. So to summarize and close my brief comments, education is not just a school problem, it's a community problem. Hunger is not just a government problem, it's a community problem. Child safety and abuse is not just a law enforcement problem, it's a community problem. And preventable and non-preventable diseases are not just a traditional healthcare provider problem, they are community problems as well. Our YMCA, your YMCA, is and has been committed to being part of the community solution for these community problems. In 2015, we gave out $950,000 in financial assistance for programs and services for community solutions to those less fortunate than you and I. And we kept with our long-standing promise of nobody is turned away because of inability to pay. We were able to do that through the generosity of many of you in this room today. And we've all done this within our 3 core focus areas of youth development, healthy living, and social responsibility. This morning we have 6 speakers who have agreed to share with you the story of how our YMCA, your YMCA, has fulfilled our promise, our commitment to being part of the community solution for a better us. Please join me in welcoming Rhonda Bugan, our Development Director, who will be introducing the speakers.
Thank you, Gary. What I'm most excited about in today's program is for you to hear firsthand how the Y is creating a better us. If you don't know, the Y's mission is the improvement of the spiritual, mental, social, educational, and physical conditions of all persons. It's important that we know that we know of the Y mission. We are not just a gym and swim, as they say. We are a mission-driven organization. The stories you will hear today are personal. They are meaningful, and they represent each of our areas of focus, each of our YMCA Southcoast branches. They will show you how the Y, with your support, is helping to build a better us. On your tables, you have a gift from us, which are cups and pens and, a little bit of a pledge card. If you feel inspired throughout this program, our annual campaign is currently going on right now. Just a little side note, I'm the development director, I need to say that. So, without further ado, let's get to the meat of our program and the best part of our program today. One of the areas of focus is youth development. The Y believes all kids deserve opportunities to discover who they are and what they can achieve. Our first speaker is an incredible kid with an amazing story. He will show you that recreation and play, as well as the support of friends and family, can make the world a difference. Please welcome our first speaker. done now, I promise.
I can't reach you.
I'm not. See, you put me in charge of the wrong thing. You good? Okay.
My name is Braiden Norton, and I'm Youth Development at the Dartmouth YMCA. Thank you for letting me speak today. I've had a few operations in the past years because I have a brain tumor, and I'm glad the YMCA is a part of my life. Favorite activities at the YMCA. I like archery, rock climbing, both inside the gym and outdoors on the big tower. When you get to the top, it is a beautiful view and feeling of accomplishment. I also like nature walks in the woods. I like the ropes course and going on the zip line and the caterpillar. Some of my favorite events are family camping night and the haunted trail on Halloween time. I love it when we do flick and float and scare the people on the Halloween haunted trail. In the summer, I love the pool. I also had my birthday party there at the YMCA 2 times. When I was 5 and again when I was 9 years old. It was super fun. Favorite people at the YMCA: Brennan, my after-school counselor, and Petey, my summer counselor, and Farmer Dan, Jeff, archery counselor. I also made a lot of great friends. Noah, Carlos, and Jake are just a few of them. It's fun to meet them in the YMCA daily. I get financial aid from the YMCA, and it is very helpful to my dad, who is the best. My dad works full-time and also on Saturdays at our family gallery, the Norton Gallery in Braiden Norton. Since my dad is a single parent and can't pick me up every day after school is because he is at work, I'm glad that I have the opportunity to go to the YMCA every day before and after school. And it is really fun. You can see the YMCA is a big part of my life. I hope that in 2016 people continue to support the YMCA so that other kids can be as lucky as me and get the chance to come here.
Gary just said Braiden for president, and I can't agree more. I might need help with the show. This thing is... All right. Next, it is my pleasure to welcome a huge supporter from our newest Y branches who will talk about what it means to have a new Y move into the community and the importance of securing its future.
Thanks, Rhonda. This is a setup. I can't follow that. Hats off, kid. Good morning, everybody. It's great to see everyone here. My name is Raechel McGhee, and I represent youth development at the Stoico First Fed YMCA in Swansea. I've been a psychotherapist for close to 30 years, working first in Madison, Wisconsin, and then in the greater New York City area, and now I have an office in downtown Fall River. Towns on the South Coast, rural and urban, are grappling with the same troubles as larger cities nationally. I've worked with 13-year-olds in my office in Fall River, still with braces on their teeth, facing unplanned pregnancies. One child I treated was referred to me because she brought a water bottle filled with vodka to her middle school. Others, as young as 11 years old, have come to me grieving the suicide of their best friend. The kids who I've seen who are bullied are too many to number, and those who cope with parental illness, substance abuse, and abandonment are countless. Somerset, where I live, is very similar to the town where I was raised, Merrimack, New Hampshire. When I was a kid, we walked to and from school in relative safety. Adults were present when we got home. We knew all our neighbors' names, their kids' names, their dogs' names, their cats' names, and we played outside until it was dark, again in relative safety. Nowadays, many, many children come home to empty houses. Some are cared for by grandparents or other relatives, but many families have no one available to watch their kids. In my professional experience, the most vulnerable age children are those in middle school, old enough to legally be left supervised, yet not always wise enough to make good choices. This is where the Y comes in. The Y gives kids something to do. It gives them somewhere to go. The Y gives kids healthy outlets for their energy, for their need to socialize, and for their desire to learn about themselves and who they want to be in the world. The Y offers educational experiences. The Y gives kids a chance to play and get fit in a supportive, inclusive environment. And the Y lets kids experience the joy of community service. So many parents on the South Coast are struggling. They work long hours to try and make ends meet in what is for many a no-growth or low-growth economy. One of the things that makes me most passionate about the Y is that it offers financial aid to any family in need. The children of families who are struggling the most are often the ones in most need of the Y. I am proud of the fact that the Y doesn't turn its back on these families. In the short time that our Stoico First Fed YMCA has been open in Swansea, we have held our first community dance for middle schoolers, free family movie night, Healthy Kids Day, and many other events to introduce the Y to our communities. The response has been phenomenal. We are clearly meeting a crucial need for the children and families we serve. As we continue to grow and develop, the possibilities truly are endless. I hope that you will join me in support of a healthy future for all our children. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Raechel. As you can see, that is youth development at YMCA Southcoast. It's vast, it's wide. The Y is doing many incredible things to make sure that our youth are able to grow and thrive. So thank you to our speakers for youth development. The next area of focus for the YMCA is healthy living. The Y focuses on balance, bringing families closer together, encouraging good health, and fostering connections through fitness, sports, fun, and a shared interest. Our next, I am honored to introduce two speakers who exemplify strength, love, courage, and an indomitable will. Please welcome our next speakers for healthy living.
My name is Deb Latender, and this is my husband Norm, and we are Healthy Living. Without the Y, we would be lost. Let me share the backdrop to Norm's Y story. In April 2008, Norm went for heart surgery and suffered a traumatic brain injury. Prior to that, Norm, had a business, federal work clothes, and he turned the corner and was thriving. He was well on his way to a successful business. We had reached the point in our lives where we could travel and splurge on ourselves, and we truly were enjoying life. Then, surgery. Doctors had recommended a cardiac valve replacement. What was expected to be a 3-day hospital stay turned into a couple of months. After returning from Boston, including hospitals and rehab, reality began to set in. Realizing that the kind of life we were beginning to enjoy was short-lived. Within a year, we needed to sell the business. But we have a saying, it is what it is. But I feel blessed. Norm is still with us. So during those months, Norm grew stronger. His friend Bob Tran started driving him to the New Bedford Y for exercise at night. So Norm and his group of friends, Al, Bob, and Dave, our blessings, would meet at the Y to walk with Norm one night a week, and we realized the need for Norm to develop a routine since he could no longer work. Never complain about work to Norm, because he will tell you he wishes he could work. So at our age, we tend to identify ourselves with our job. So in the fall of 2008, Bob suggested that Norm join the Y, and we could have someone bring him each day. Norm became a member. And actually, the Y became his job. So Norm spends 4 hours a day, 5 days a week. In fact, we drove up today, and someone said, hey Norm, I didn't see you with your clothes at all. So he spends 5 days a week at the Y, 2 in the gym and 3 in the pool. What Norm thinks is most important, though, is how the Y continues to make an impact on his life, like we never knew it would. These I'm going to share, Norm actually told me to say. So I am his voice today. And I see this, when you have a disability, sometimes people treat you differently. Not at the Y. Norm says he feels respected at the Y, and he pushes himself to be his best. Norm feels the staff truly respects him. There are places around that could serve Norm, where they don't accommodate or listen to member needs. Not at the Y. When Norm needed the new equipment for stability in the pool, they found an apparatus and they funded that. Sometimes you're just not a number, not at the Y. The saying, everyone knows your name, resonates daily with a hey Norm, as he walks through the door, through the hallways, and throughout his workout. Norm didn't want a program. He wanted a place that could give him a sense of belonging, a community. He's found that at the Y. In fact, recently we've lost a person who was bringing him to the Y 4 days a week, and it's been difficult to find someone to fill that job. So I asked Norm, I was just trying to have him do something during the day. Do you want me to bring you to a center to play cards and stuff? He said emphatically, no, I just want to go to the Y. So we continue the search. One other huge blessing has actually been Larry Finity, who was a member of the Y. He has been Norm's Monday person since the beginning. He has volunteered to commitment of helping Norm each Monday since Norm began at the Y. So the Y continues to support Norm's membership through financial assistance that is greatly appreciated by our family. Since not being able to work again has challenged us financially. So as you can see, the New Bedford Y is more than a gym and swim. Like Rhonda said, it promotes healthy living, shapes programs that build a healthy spirit, mind, body for all kinds of people. The Y is a nonprofit organization that depends on donations for every dollar that counts. We are one example of how your dollars are hard at work. Thank you.
Thank you, Norm and Deb.
Very good.
I had the pleasure of spending time with our next speaker, and after hearing her story, realizing what positivity and an incredible sense of humor does for the soul. Unfortunately, Sharon couldn't be here tonight, but someone who knows her, one of the best, the head of our Live Strong program. Please help me welcome Susan.
Thank you, Rhonda. I feel really overwhelmed and it's just honored to be representing Sharon's story. Sharon DeCosta is one of the most inspiring people I have ever enrolled into our Live Strong program in the 4+ years that we've been running it. So I'm going to share her story since she couldn't be here today. My name is Sharon DeCosta and I am healthy living at the Gleason Family YMCA in Wareham. My new normal began April 28, 2015 on my 25th wedding anniversary. That was the day I was told I had cancer. You see, I was just going in for a routine hysterectomy, now turned my non-hysterectomy day, and when I woke up from anesthesia, my life was forever changed. I was thrust into a barrage of medical appointments, tests, scans, and biopsies to find out what type of beast had taken over my body. The news came back. I had metastatic breast cancer. For those who don't know, metastatic breast cancer is presently a stage 4 incurable cancer that tends to spread to other parts of the body. About 155,000 women and men are diagnosed with this form of cancer each year, but only 6% receive my diagnosis. Yes, I'm an overachiever, always have been. The good news, which I choose each and every day, is that this disease is treatable. So let me tell you about 2 of my support teams. I'm currently being treated at the world-renowned Dana-Farber Cancer Institute in Boston by an awesome team of doctors and nurses. I am a true believer in fate, so when I was introduced to my oncologist, Dr. Ann Partridge, a rock star in the world of cancer researchers, I felt I had hit the lottery. That may sound cliche, but it was like in the tornado of the crap storm I had landed in. What are the chances a woman from this area, the area I grew up in, would become my doctor? Dr. Partridge is also the doctor who introduced me to another part of my team, the Live Strong program at the Gleason Family YMCA. Dealing with treatment is not always easy, and the side effects can leave you sluggish. I knew that I needed to get strong and build my stamina for what will be the biggest fight of my life. But joining a gym, really? I knew I needed, you have to know Sharon, she has the most amazing sense of humor. I knew I needed to find a program that worked for me, to have people and coaches who understood what individuals living with, recovering from, and surviving cancer went through every day. Well, that's the Live Strong at the Y program. Since beginning the program in January, I can honestly stand here and tell you that the program has made a difference in my life. It not only strengthens my mind and my body, but also my spirit. Mike Gaydu, my instructor, is a trained Live Strong coach who teaches us proper techniques while pushing us to our greatest potential. Mike and others in my Live Strong group support each other and always lends an ear when we just need someone to listen to us. Because let's face it, we all have those days, cancer or no cancer. My family and I have been blessed with financial stability, but many of my warriors in this battle with cancer are not. If you didn't know, the Y provides the Live Strong program for free. Yes, free. That's true. And as an added bonus, they also include a free 3-month family membership for my other support system, my family. Without the support of the Y's annual campaign, the Live Strong program might not exist, and that is unacceptable. I live my life to the fullest, enjoying my family and friends, making sure I have fun and laughter in all I do, making wonderful memories along the way. Everyone in life goes through challenges, but you have to make a choice. You can choose to fall into the black hole and let life swallow you up, or you can choose to live strong. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. Lastly, we want to cover social responsibility. The Y helps people give back and assist their neighbors by creating and supporting programs that strengthen community. Our next 2 speakers show how the Y is giving back and encouraging others to make a difference in the community. The first is an issue that many of us might not be aware, the issue of hunger. Our next speaker will tell you how the Y is tackling the hunger issue.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Ellyn Gallant, and I am social responsibility at the Mattapoisett YMCA. I see a lot of familiar faces in the room, so hi everybody. I began my journey at the Y many years ago as a camper at the age of 5, and I continued attending camp every year after that, eventually becoming a CIT and a camp counselor. Working well into my 20s for the Y. And now I have the great privilege of partnering with the Mattapoisett Y once again through their Now or Nutrition on the Weekends program. As the principal of the Alfred J. Gomes School here in New Bedford, and as a board member of the Mattapoisett Y, I was asked by Mr. Schuyler and Joe to assist them in kicking off this tremendous program that currently provides 150 of the Alfred J. Gomes students with much needed food on the weekends, including 2 breakfasts, 2 lunches, 2 snacks, and 2 fruits or vegetables per weekend day in order to nourish their bodies and fuel their minds. Since July, the Mattapoisett Y has been establishing partnerships and drop-off sites in order to collect food for this much-needed work. And as a result, the Mattapoisett Y has recruited over 20 volunteers, with many more still needed, so if you want to join, come on over, to help deliver bags to the Alfred J. Gomes students every Friday, and this commenced in this past December. Hunger is a real issue in America, and many are unaware that it's extremely prevalent right here in our own communities. For many of the Alfred J. Gomes students, hunger hits extremely close to home. Many of our students live well below the poverty line, and 100% of the students in New Bedford Public Schools receive a free breakfast and free lunch every day. The Now program provides our students with the food that they need over the weekend so that when Monday comes, they are nourished and ready to learn. The program also alleviates the worry that they have during the week, wondering if they'll eat over the weekend, which ultimately distracts from their studies. The students and families who receive these generous food donations are forever grateful to the Y and for their efforts. But we have also seen unexpected outcomes from this. The kids at the Y After School program assist the Now program at least 2 days per month. And as a result, their eyes have been opened because many of them will never know the pain of having to go without food or worrying where their next meal is going to come from. The kids' involvement in the process of assisting their neighbors has heightened their own sense of social responsibility and regularly asked to do more for the program. It's really great to see them so excited about helping their neighbors. So I, along with the Mattapoisett YMCA, believe that this is just the beginning of the Now program, and with continued support, we hope to someday end childhood hunger in our area. Thank you.
Lastly, I'd like to bring up for the area of focus of social responsibility is a generous volunteer who gives of his time to help the Y with a fairly new program that Gary mentioned earlier. This is the story of a widespread issue facing our schools and our state.
I used to be a newspaper guy until a year and a half ago when I learned I was retired. And one of the first things I did in my retirement was go to the Y in Fall River. I was just looking for a place to work out. I had no idea what was percolating up on the 4th floor. But I checked off the box for volunteering on the membership form, and a few weeks later, I was up on that 4th floor for the first session of Kids Lit. And I sat across from a charming girl named Malia. I think she was 7. And Malia wanted to know who she was dealing with. So she asked me how old I was, and I told her. And she gave me this look that said, "Nobody's that old." Then she asked me if I was married. I said, "Yes." "Do you have any children?" I said, "No." She said, "Well, you can get some at an orphanage, you know." So with that bit of wisdom to go by, I started the first class for the first session of Kids Lit. And Kids Lit is great because you never know where it's going to go. And when we read a book together, we pull out words, we talk about meaning and how they're used, and sometimes some very interesting connections are made. One of the books we read involved two frogs, and one frog pushed another frog off a boat. And one kid said, "That's bullying." So we talked about bullying. And after that first session of Kids Lit, Anne Marie Sawyer suggested that maybe I could put my experience to work and create a newspaper club. And I worked in newspapers for 45 years, so it seemed like a natural. But I had to introduce kids to newspapers because newspapers are disappearing. And we started with the Herald News, and we read it at the beginning of each session, and we talked about the who, what, when, where, why of newspaper stories. And those kids wrote the first issue ever of the Candy News. It's only one page, has no searing exposés, but they wrote it and it's theirs. And we started our second session of the newspaper club 2 weeks ago. And the mayor of Fall River has agreed to be interviewed by the staff. He hasn't a clue what he means. But yesterday we spent some time coming up with questions that we might ask the mayor. And one of the kids suggested we ask him if he plans to get a job after he's mayor. I'm not sure if that's going to make the cut or not. But what's so great about this? I've lived in Fall for 40 years, and I love the place. But in many ways, I've never gotten to know it. So now I'm getting to know it, up on the 4th floor of the Y. And it's amazing to think that these kids have a place to come to that gives them a sense of community. I know they probably don't see it that way, but that's what it's all about. We give them a place between school and home where they can feel safe and where they can meet people who care about them and will teach them and make this place a little better. I think there's great things happening at the Y. I'm just grateful to be a part of it. Thanks.
We hope that we've given you a sense of the incredible work that's going on in each one of the YMCA Southcoast branches. Can we give one last round of applause to all of our speakers here tonight? I'd like to reintroduce Gary Schuyler, our President and CEO.
Thank you again to all those speakers who took time out of their days to be here and share their stories with us. That was very moving and powerful. So I've been working for this YMCA for 28 years, and during the 28 years I've had the opportunity to work with a tremendous board of directors who have coached and steered and mentored and helped move this organization forward. And certainly right now we are tremendously blessed to have a great board, and leading that board is none other than Peter Bullitt, who I will never know what he's going to say, but he's a great board chair and a great supporter of the South Coast region. Peter Bullitt.
Those were compelling and powerful stories. After listening to them, I am in some ways speechless with gratitude. The problem is my name appears on the program, so speechless isn't really an option. I'm supposed to say something. So, I'm going to tell you about my personal story at the Y. Actually, no, I'm not, because my personal story at the Y stinks compared to what we've heard. Those stories, though, resonate with all of us for different reasons. One of the things that I liked about all those stories is that they involve Y members, Y volunteers, and Y staff. The staff in particular, I think, needs to be mentioned. In my experience Y staff members literally represent the better angels of our nature. And you saw that in those stories that you just heard this morning. Another reason why I love those stories is that they convey optimism. And when you have optimism, you have hope. And life is much more enjoyable if you have optimism and hope, especially in these uncertain times. I don't know, we've already talked about the political situation. I don't know how many of you have noticed who's running for president. Kind of makes you think you might want to flee to Canada, where loonies are simply a form of currency rather than actual presidential candidates. Those stories that we just heard are inspirational. When you're down, when you're tired, when you're frustrated, and we all have those days, I would encourage you to think of those stories. Don't ever doubt the value of your time and work at the Y. In the big picture, it's not about us individually, it's about us collectively. One of my favorite heroes is Jackie Robinson. And Jackie Robinson is a hero to many of us for all the obvious reasons. But I don't know how many of you here know that Jackie Robinson was a passionate, tireless volunteer for the Y. His Y happened to be in Harlem. And one of my favorite quotes comes from Jackie Robinson, who said, "A life is not important except in the impact it has on others." Think about that. A life is not important except in the impact it has on others. The Y impacts others. Your work at the Y impacts others. Your time as a volunteer at the Y impacts others. Your membership at the Y impacts others. The annual fund impacts others. As Rhonda has pointed out, there are pledge cards in front of you. So I would encourage you to fill them out with as much generosity as you can. I want to thank every one of you for coming here today. I want to thank you for your support of the Y. And I wish you safe travels and win the day. Thank you.
We're adjourned. Thank you for coming.
You left a secret. So what do we do now?
I was fine. Norm and the kids.